My sister planned her wedding at my cabin without asking, so I had her removed. Reddit stories. What started as entitlement turned into a full-blown spectacle when my family arrived with guests, vendors, and zero permission. Saying no exposed how disposable I'd always been to them, and how far they were willing to go when control slipped. I'm Noah, 38. High school physics teacher. Not rich, not flashy, just a guy who inherited a small A-frame cabin in the Blue Ridge Mountains from my grandfather. It was my sanctuary, wood stove, porch swing, mist rolling off the pines at 6 a.m. A place I fixed up myself. A place I earned with sweat, weekends, and too many trips to Home Depot. To my family, though? It was Noah's cabin. The way a shopping cart is, your cart, at the grocery store, temporary, communal, and expected to be available. For context, my parents had 3 kids. Mason, the golden boy firefighter with perfect hair. Olivia, influencer, self-appointed CEO of everyone's feelings. Me, the quiet one who doesn't mind helping out. I did mind. I just never said it out loud. For years, they used the cabin like it was their timeshare. Left dirty linens, cracked a window once in winter, the heating bill that month almost ended me, let their dog chew the trim near the door. I swallowed it. Told myself this was family. Told myself Grandpa would want us to share it. Then came the wedding message. It was a Thursday evening. I had just finished grading labs. My hands still smelled faintly like dry erase markers. Group chat pinged. Olivia. Noah. Great news. We finally picked a venue. I blinked, assuming she meant some winery or rustic barn. Then the photo came through. My cabin. Decorated in Pinterest grade wedding fantasy fonts. Olivia and Cody, August 17th, Blue Ridge Mountain Retreat. Me. What venue? Whose cabin is that? Olivia. Yours, dummy face with tears of joy. It's perfect. We're doing the ceremony on the lawn and the reception on the deck. Can you stock the fridge by Friday? And please fix the railing, Dad says it's loose. I sat there staring at the screen like it had insulted my ancestors. I typed. No. Bubble, bubble, stop. Bubble again. Olivia. We already invited 112 people. Deposits are paid. It's happening. You're not going to ruin my wedding over some attitude, right? I showed my phone to my girlfriend, Clara, who was half asleep on the couch. She sat up so fast her hoodie slid off her shoulder. They what? The next day I called my parents, hoping someone had sense left. Mom answered. Oh, Noah, don't start. Your sister deserves a magical day. Be supportive. It's my cabin. You can't plan a wedding there without my permission. You never use it. She snapped. And it's family property. No, Mom. It's mine. Legally mine. In Grandpa's will. Silence. Then, well, that was selfish of him. I had to put the phone down before I said something irreversible. That was the moment something in me hardened. For 12 years I'd been the helper, the backup plan, the guy who always said, yeah, sure. Not anymore. That afternoon, I drove straight to the cabin. Changed the locks. Cancelled the utilities access codes my siblings used. Called a contractor to temporarily fence the property. And because I knew my family, I installed a motion-activated camera facing the driveway. Clara watched me work, leaning on a post with her cup of cocoa. You know they're going to show up anyway. Oh, I'm counting on it. Sure enough, Saturday at 10:43 a.m., I got an alert. 4 SUVs, 1 rented party bus, and a florist van. I answered the camera intercom. Olivia stepped out in a white romper like she was already mid-photo shoot. Noah, she said, folding her arms. Open the gate. No. You're being dramatic. Everyone's here. Just let us set up. No. She stomped forward, heels sinking into gravel. If you ruin my wedding. You did that when you scheduled it on property you don't own. She screeched something unintelligible about betrayal and family loyalty. Then Dad stepped into view. Noah, open the gate. This is childish. No, Dad. What's childish is assuming I'll bankroll and host your events while you all treat me like the family handyman. Don't talk to your father like. I hung up the intercom. Then I called the sheriff's non-emergency line and reported trespassers attempting unauthorized entry. 10 minutes later, flashing lights came up the drive. The deputies told my family to leave or be charged. Olivia sobbed into her fiancé's shirt. Mom cursed loudly enough for the camera to glitch. Dad told the officer this was a private family misunderstanding. The officer pointed to the fence, and the deed copy I'd slid through the gate. Sir, not today it isn't. One by one they retreated. The party bus did a 3-point turn that nearly took out a pine tree. Then they were gone. I thought I'd feel guilty. Instead, I breathed. For the first time in years. The fallout lasted weeks. Texts. Voicemails. A long Facebook post from my mother about ungrateful children. Olivia tried to invoice me for her wedding deposits. I mailed back the invoice with a sticky note. Return to sender. Wrong address for free labor. Clara framed it. A month later, I sat on the porch swing with Milo, Clara's son, who'd started calling me sorta Dad. He flipped through a sketchbook he brought everywhere. On one page he'd drawn the cabin. Tall trees. Smoke from the chimney. A little figure sitting on the steps holding a mug. That's you, he said. Because you finally made your own space. That's brave. It hit me harder than anything my family had said. Because he was right. This year, the cabin hosted 3 people. Me, Clara, and Milo. And the only thing we planned there was Esmores. The funny thing about cutting off unreasonable people is that they don't disappear. They regroup. 2 weeks after the great wedding retreat of shame, I got a text from an unknown number while I was at school prepping a lab on magnetic fields. Unknown. We need to talk. 5 seconds later. It's your father. I stared at the screen like it had started smoking. I hadn't heard from him directly in months, not since he told me I was jealous of people with actual ambition, which is rich coming from a man whose greatest achievement was bowling a perfect game in 1997. I typed back nothing. Put the phone face down. Went back to arranging magnets. Then the phone buzzed again. Your mother is devastated. Your sister is inconsolable. You need to fix this by coming over tonight. Fix this. Not let's talk, not we want to understand, not we're sorry we treated your property like a community rec center. Just fix what you broke. I was about to toss the phone into the nearest beaker when Clara popped her head into my classroom. You look like someone tried to sell you a cursed vacuum cleaner. Worse, I said. My dad wants me to come over tonight. She gave me the look. The one that means, absolutely not, you beautiful idiot. What are you going to do? I shrugged. Probably something smart. Probably something stupid. Hard to tell which yet. At 7 p.m., I drove. Not because I wanted reconciliation. Because I wanted clarity. I wanted to see if there was anything left worth salvaging, or if I'd been trying to resuscitate a relationship that had flatlined years ago. Their house looked the same. Overgrown hedges. Wind chimes that sounded like angry ghosts. Dad opened the door before I even knocked. Noah, he said, stepping aside. Glad you came. Not here to fight. I answered. Good. Neither are we. Reader, he was lying. The moment I stepped into the living room, I saw the setup. Mom on the couch, arms folded. Olivia next to her, mascara tracks still visible. Even Mason, freshly shaved and radiating firefighter righteousness. A whole tribunal. Dad gestured to an empty chair like this was an intervention. Sit. I stayed standing. Mom sighed dramatically. This is exactly the defiance we're talking about. I'm not here for a lecture, I said. You asked me to come? So talk. Olivia jumped in first. You humiliated me, Noah. Do you understand that? People still ask why the wedding had to move venues last minute. Maybe because you didn't book a venue, I said. You tried to steal one. It wasn't stealing, she snapped. It's family property. No, I said. It was Grandpa's property. And he left it to me. Not you. Mom leaned forward, voice syrup-sweet and venom-laced. He only did that because you were always his favorite. You manipulated him. I blinked. What? You heard me, she said. Your grandfather wasn't well near the end. You took advantage. He loved all of you kids equally. There's no reason he would have left you the cabin unless you pressured him. I laughed. Like actually laughed. Because the twist wasn't that she believed this. It was that she clearly believed it for years. You think I manipulated Grandpa? I repeated. Dad crossed his arms. It's the only explanation that makes sense. I stared at all of them. 4 grown adults, united in one magical shared delusion. So let me get this straight, I said. You think I tricked a Korean War veteran with a memory like a steel trap into giving me the cabin instead of his darling golden grandchildren? Silence. Olivia didn't meet my eyes. Dad looked annoyed that I said, Korean. Mom wiped imaginary tears. Then Mason, the only one who hadn't spoken yet, finally chimed in. We're just saying, the cabin should be for everyone. And I'm saying, I answered calmly, that none of you helped fix it. None of you maintained it. None of you paid a cent. You only ever used it. Dad bristled. We're your family. And Milo is mine. That hit hard. Because their expressions shifted from self-righteous to offended. Mom straightened. So this is because of that kid? That kid, I echoed, is my family. And the cabin is his safe place too. And I'm not letting any of you treat him the way you treated me. Dad scoffed. You're choosing him over us? I'm choosing respect over entitlement. And then my mother delivered the line that cemented everything. You owe us loyalty, Noah. We raised you. I nodded. You did. And now I get to choose the terms of knowing you. Their faces froze. I'm not going to fight with you anymore. I continued. I'm not giving you keys. I'm not giving you weekends. I'm not giving you the version of me who never said no. That version is gone. Mom stood up. You can't just walk away from your family. I already did, I said. And then I left. No dramatic exit. No slamming doors. Just clarity. For the first time, I didn't feel like the quiet kid, the middle child, the fixer. I felt like a man with a boundary. A real one. One I wasn't apologizing for. The next morning should have felt peaceful. Coffee. Sunrise through the blinds. Milo humming while he fed the stray cat he'd secretly adopted behind my garage. But peace is fragile when your family is addicted to chaos. At 9:12 a.m., my phone vibrated. Unknown number. You need to call me now. Then another. This is urgent. It's about your sister. For one terrifying second I thought something truly awful had happened. Then a picture message came through. A selfie. Of Paige. Red-eyed, pouting, wrapped in a blanket like a depressed burrito. Caption. I can't stop crying. I haven't slept. I hope you're happy. Ah. The classic emotional hostage-taking maneuver. I deleted the picture and slid the phone into my pocket. I had second period physics to teach. During lunch, another text pinged. Dad. Your sister is devastated. She says she can't get out of bed. This is your doing. Come fix this. There it was again. Fix this. Like I was their designated maintenance man for emotional plumbing. I typed back one word. No. Dad immediately replied. You are still part of this family whether you like it or not. Blood is blood. Blood is blood. I stared at the phrase while Milo, sitting beside me in the teacher's lounge, methodically peeled every bit of breading off his chicken nuggets before eating them. He looked up. You're doing the face again. What face? The one where you think you're supposed to solve something but you actually don't want to. I smiled. Yeah. That face. You don't have to, you know. Milo shrugged. Grandpa always says blood is blood because he knows he's wrong. You don't say something's natural if it actually is. You just do it. I blinked. You're 11. Why are you wise? I watch a lot of Studio Ghibli. Fair enough. I ruffled his hair. That evening, the escalation began. First, Mark. Bro, Paige is saying you screamed at her. What happened? I replied. I didn't even raise my voice. He wrote back. Okay, but she feels like you did. Maybe apologize just to calm her down. I put the phone down and laughed. Apologize for her feelings. We were officially entering Olympic-level manipulation. Then came the group chat. The one I left months ago? Yeah. They resurrected it without me. Screenshots arrived from Leah, who texted. Leah. You need to see what they're doing. Brace yourself. The group chat was titled Carter Family, Emergency Discussion. And boy, was it a circus. Mom. We need to talk about Noah's behavior. This is not normal. Dad. He's disrespectful. He thinks he's better than us. Paige. He ruined my entire weekend. Do you know how embarrassing that was? The gate guard made us leave. Mom. He's being controlled by that woman and that child. Paige. Yes. He wasn't like this before Milo. Dad. Milo is the issue. He changed Noah. Paige. Honestly, Milo is always the issue. We tiptoe around him like he's made of glass. Mom. Maybe Noah shouldn't have been allowed to adopt him. Dad. He's not even blood. Paige. Exactly. Mark. Guys, maybe don't say this in writing. Paige. Why? It's true. I read the whole thing twice. Slowly. Carefully. Every sentence carving something out of me and replacing it with clarity. Then I texted Leah back. Me. Thanks for the screenshot. You're right. I needed to see that. Leah. I'm sorry, Noah. You deserve better than them. Milo definitely does. At 6 p.m. While Elena sautéed garlic and Milo narrated the cat's imagined thoughts, I sat at the kitchen counter and wrote 4 separate messages. Not angry. Not emotional. Just final. To Mom. You talked about my son like he is a burden. He's a child. A kind one. A good one. And the fact that you feel comfortable insulting him behind my back tells me everything I need to know. I am stepping away permanently. Do not contact me again. To Dad. I'm not your emotional janitor. I'm not fixing the messes you create. You crossed the line talking about Milo. You are not welcome in my life until you can acknowledge that. To Paige. You excluded my son from the reunion, then blamed me when I protected him. You called him not real family. That's unforgivable. Do not contact me anymore. To Mark. Silence is a choice. Yours was loud. I'm done pretending you're neutral. You're not. Don't text me again. Then I blocked all 4. One by one. Like closing tabs I should have shut years ago. I exhaled. It didn't feel like losing a family. It felt like finally stepping out of a burning building. Milo? I called. He popped his head out of the hallway, cat in arms. Yeah? I smiled. Pack your hoodie. We're going to the cabin this weekend. His face lit up. Just us? Just us. He nodded, satisfied. Good. I like that version better. I squeezed his shoulder. Me too. They didn't stay quiet for long. People like my family don't lose access, they stage coups. It started Saturday morning. We were halfway to the cabin, Milo asleep in the back seat with the cat in a carrier on his lap, when Elena's phone buzzed. She glanced at it. Frowned. Then slowly turned the screen toward me. A Facebook post. Public. From my mother. Please pray for our family. Our oldest son, Noah, has cut us off completely because his wife and her child manipulated him. We are heartbroken. We don't know what to do. He refuses to let us see our grandchildren and won't answer our calls. We raised him better than this. Family is supposed to forgive. Please reach out if you have advice. The comments, hundreds of them, were nuclear. So sad. Kids today are so selfish. You did your best, Mama. Maybe he's having a mental health crisis? That stepson must have driven a wedge. Grandparents have rights. Elena covered her mouth. Oh my God! And then, at the bottom, the one that made my stomach bottom out. Paige. We're trying to intervene, but he won't listen to reason. Pray he finds his way back to us. Intervene. I repeated flatly. Fantastic. Elena squeezed my knee. They're losing control. This is their panic move. She was right. But it got worse. Because before I could even process that mess, my phone buzzed too. A text from unknown, which meant someone used a different number after I blocked their main one. I opened it. It was a photo. Of my beach house. Specifically of my driveway. Specifically of my sister's minivan parked in it. Then the message. We're already inside. Talk to us or we're not leaving. I slammed the brakes so hard Elena grabbed the dash. They broke in, she gasped. Not exactly. I zoomed in on the picture. My stomach twisted. They weren't inside the house. They were camped out on the porch. Lawn chairs. Coolers. Umbrellas. Just sitting there like they were tailgating my life. But that wasn't the worst part. At the edge of the image, I saw something that made me grip the phone until my knuckles whitened. My mother. Holding a homemade sign. Big letters, messy marker strokes. We want our son back. I closed my eyes. This wasn't a visit. This was a spectacle. A performance. A hostage situation without the hostage. Dad, Milo mumbled sleepily from the back seat. What's happening? I turned, forced a smile. Just grown-up stuff, bud. Nothing you need to worry about. But Milo wasn't stupid. He studied my face. They broke another rule, didn't they? I nodded once. He sighed. Told you. They don't respect boundaries. Elena snorted softly. Amen. I pulled the car over onto the shoulder. We sat in silence. Finally, Elena said, So, what do you want to do? I didn't have to think long. Because something inside me, something old and tired, finally snapped clean in half. I'm calling the sheriff. Elena nodded. And then? And then, I said, starting the car again. I'm ending this. For good. She laid her hand over mine. Milo leaned forward and whispered through the carrier bars. Even the cat agrees. And for the first time in hours I laughed. A short, sharp thing. Not joy. But relief. Because they made one fatal mistake. They tried to make my son collateral. And that's where the story really changes. The sheriff didn't even sound surprised. Not when I explained the photo. Not when I listed the names. Not when I said the words trespassing and refusing to leave my property. He just sighed. That your folks again, Dr. Carter? Again. Apparently this was a pattern now. Yes, I said. And there are 47 of them. Lord. A pause. We'll send someone. By the time we pulled into the beach community, I could already see it. A crowd on my porch. My porch. Lawn chairs. A folding table with snacks. A Bluetooth speaker. Kids running in circles. Coolers lining the railing like they were tailgating a Jaguars game. And front and center. My mother, clutching that sign. We want our son back. Theatrics. Always theatrics. Paige saw my car first. She elbowed Mark. Oh, thank God, she shouted. He finally came to his senses. My mother gasped like she was seeing a prodigal son crawling over the horizon. She took a step forward, hands clasped dramatically under her chin. Noah! she cried. "We're here to fix this." I parked, turned the engine off, and stayed inside the car. Milo watched all of it silently, face blank in that way kids use when they're overwhelmed but trying not to show it. Elena held his hand. "You okay?" she whispered. He shrugged but didn't look away. "Why are they yelling like that? We're not zoo animals." I squeezed his knee. "You're not the problem here." Then the sheriff's SUV rolled up, and the tone changed instantly. Conversations cut off mid-sentence. Coolers snapped shut. Kids were yanked behind adults. My mother dropped her sign like it betrayed her. Sheriff Walters stepped out, put his hat on, and surveyed the scene with the exhausted patience of a man who had definitely broken up Carter family drama before. "All right," he said loudly. "Which of you claims to own this property?" My mother jumped forward. "We all do. It's a family house." "Our son." "No, ma'am." Walters pointed directly at me. "That man is the legal owner," he called us. "You are trespassing." Paige marched up, arms flailing. "This is ridiculous. We have a right to be here." "No, you do not," Walters said. "The owner says you're not authorized. That's the end of it." My father puffed up like a bullfrog that had been insulted at church. "He's our son. You can't just take his side." Walters blinked slowly. "Sir, it's his house." Then he turned to me. "Dr. Carter? You want everyone removed?" I nodded. "Yes. And I want statements recorded. They were warned not to come." He wrote that down. Paige sputtered. "You're choosing them over your own family?" I stepped out of the car then, finally. Real quiet. Real calm. And the whole mob leaned in, waiting for some big emotional crack, some apology speech, some confessional monologue about how much I missed them. But instead I said, "I'm choosing the people who don't treat my son like he's optional." Silence. The kind that sucks the air out of the world. Paige blinked. "Why do you keep making this about Milo?" "Because you did," I said. "Every time." My mother tried again. "Noah, sweetheart, you know we didn't mean those things. Families fight. Just come inside and let's talk." "You broke into my home," I said. "You excluded my son. You mocked him. You camped on my porch with a protest sign. And you blasted our situation all over Facebook." Her face twitched. "I only did that because you weren't listening." Walters held up a hand. "Ma'am. Time to leave." She planted herself on the bottom step. "No. I'm not going. I am not leaving without my son." Walters sighed. "I was afraid you'd say that." He called for backup. When the second patrol car arrived, the meltdown began. Paige crying loudly. My mother clutching her heart. My father yelling about grandparent rights. One of the cousins live streaming the whole thing like it was a season finale. Kids screaming. Adults arguing. A cooler tipping over and spilling white claws down my steps. It was absolute chaos. And yet, inside the car, Milo whispered, "This is actually kind of funny." Elena stifled a laugh. "Sweetheart, don't encourage him." "I'm just saying," Milo added. "If this was a movie, they'd be the villains. Like the dumb kind." "You're not wrong," I said. Within 20 minutes, the entire group was escorted off the property. The sheriff gave them a final warning. "Next time, it won't be a warning. It'll be charges." My mother pointed at me from inside the patrol SUV. "This isn't over, Noah. You can't erase your family." I looked her dead in the eye. "I didn't erase you," I said. "You walked out of the page yourselves." Walters shut the door before she could respond. And just like that, they were gone. Elena exhaled like she'd been holding her breath for months. "You okay?" she asked. I looked at Milo. At the quiet way he leaned his head against the window. At the way his shoulders finally loosened. At the way peace settled around him like a blanket. "Yeah," I said softly. "For the first time in a long time, yeah?" I expected silence. Shock. Shame. Embarrassment. You know, normal reactions for people who just got escorted off private property by law enforcement. But no. My family operates on a different emotional plane. A delusional one. By the time we got home that evening, their fallout had hit the internet like a Category 5 hurricane of self-victimization. Exhibit A, my mother's Facebook rampage. She posted 6 times in the first hour. 6. Each one more unhinged than the last. Post number 1. We were thrown out of our own family home today. Please pray for us during this difficult time. Post number 2. My son has fallen into the hands of a manipulative woman and a troubled child. We fear he may never return to the man we raised. Post number 3. Sheriff escorted us out like criminals. Is this what motherhood gets you in today's world? But the worst? Post number 4. A photo of her holding that stupid sign. We want our son back. Caption. Brainwashing is real. You think it won't happen to your family until it does. I stared at it for a long time. They're calling me a cult leader, Elena said flatly. You are persuasive, I joked. She smacked my arm. Milo looked up from his switch. Can I respond to Grandma on Facebook? No, we said in unison. He shrugged. Okay. But I could win. Exhibit B, Paige's TikTok tantrum. Of course she made a TikTok. Of course. She used a sad piano track and fake cried into the camera. I just want my brother back. He's changed. He doesn't care about family anymore. He kicked us out of the house our kids grew up in. Kids grew up in? It wasn't even built when her kids were born. Then she dropped this gem. We tried to include his stepson, but you know, special needs kids don't always do well in groups. Milo looked up again. I don't have special needs. I know, bud. I mean, maybe they do. Elena snorted so hard she choked on her tea. Exhibit C, the church ladies mobilize. My mom's church group, the same ladies who once scolded Milo for not hugging them, organized a prayer circle for a lost son. They tagged me in the invite. We will gather to pray that Noah breaks free of negative influences and returns to his loving family. Negative influences. That's how they described my wife, my child, my boundaries, my ownership of my own property. One woman even commented, sometimes adopted kids bring demons. Elena dropped her fork. What century is this? Milo whispered. Should I hiss at them next time we see them? No, I said. Yes, Elena said. Exhibit D, Dad goes nuclear. At 9 p.m., my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. Then I listened. Oh boy. My father, absolutely unhinged, breathing like he just sprinted up a hill. Noah, you'd better pick up this damn phone. You embarrassed us. You embarrass me. The sheriff knows our name now. The whole community is talking. You have one chance to fix this. Open that house to the family again. Apologize to your mother. And stop letting that woman control you. Then he dropped it. And if you don't bother coming to my funeral someday. I replayed that last line. Elena's jaw dropped. Milo squinted. That's a weird threat. He's dramatic, I said. He's stupid, Milo corrected. I didn't disagree. Then the message that changed everything. At 10:42 p.m., I got a text from the sheriff. Sheriff Walters. Just a heads up, your father tried to file a report claiming you were mentally unstable and unfit to care for a child. Said your wife was isolating you. We obviously did not take it seriously, but thought you should know. Elena froze. Milo's head jerked up. He what? She whispered. I stared at the screen, heart thudding slowly. Not fast. Not panicked. Just cold. He went for custody, I said. They're escalating. Elena moved beside me, gripping my arm. Noah. We need to protect Milo. I know. And ourselves. I know. There was no hesitation left. No guilt. No wondering if I'd overreacted. Because there it was. The line crossed. The threat made. The mask off. My father wasn't trying to reconcile. He was trying to weaponize the system against us. I put the phone down, stood up, and said, "That's it." Elena nodded once. "What do we do?" "We go all the way," I said. "No half measures. No warnings. No mercy. We end this." Milo perked up from the couch. "Like legally ending them?" Elena stared at him. "What have you been watching?" Milo shrugged. "YouTube." The next morning, I didn't go to work. I didn't operate. Didn't scrub into a single case. Didn't teach a resident how to clip an aneurysm without panicking. I called in and said 7 simple words. "I have an urgent family legal matter." Everyone in medicine understands that phrase. Nobody asks follow-up questions. The lawyer. I met with attorney Lydia Santiago at 9 a.m. She was calm, composed, and had the energy of someone who has destroyed entire family trees with a single well-written letter. I liked her immediately. She set her glasses on the table. "Tell me everything." So I did. All of it. Every trespass. Every insult toward Milo. Every manipulation. Every meltdown. Every voicemail. Every Facebook post. Every TikTok tantrum. And especially, the attempted custody stunt. Lydia took notes with the efficiency of someone preparing to drop legal napalm. When I finished, she tapped her pen twice. "Okay," she said. "This is a pattern of harassment and attempted interference with parental rights. You're done being reactive. We're going to take control." She slid a notepad across the desk. "Here's what we're doing. 1. Cease and desist letters to all 4 family members. Mom, Dad, Paige, Mark. Each one tailored. Each one firm. Each one legally iced over. No contact of any kind. No third-party communication. No entering or approaching the beach property. No defamation regarding your son, daughter-in-law, or grandson. Any violation will immediately escalate to civil action." Elena exhaled when she saw them typed up. God, I love paperwork. 2. Document everything for a restraining order. Lydia was ruthless. You have photo evidence, police reports, online harassment, and a false wellness complaint. In this state, that's more than enough. I blinked. Wellness? She nodded. Sheriff Walters said your father attempted to suggest you were mentally unfit. That's a red flag call. Courts hate that. Elena crossed her arms. Good. Let them hate it. 3. Block and report on all platforms. Lydia didn't play. You're done seeing what they post. No more screenshots unless they are sent directly by law enforcement. But what if? Noah, she interrupted. Abuse thrives on access. Damn. 4. One final measure. She leaned back in her chair. And depending on how they respond to the cease and desists, we may pursue a civil harassment injunction. If they attempt another custody stunt, we'll escalate to protective orders. I felt my whole spine loosen. Like someone had finally removed the weight that had been compressing me for years. Thank you, I whispered. Lydia smiled. Protecting families from their own relatives is, unfortunately, about half my practice. Elena squeezed my hand under the table. The letters go out. By noon, they were emailed and couriered. By evening, the responses came. Oh, the responses. Mom's response. A rambling paragraph sent through a burner email. I am your mother. You cannot sever the bond God gave us. I will always be part of your life. No piece of paper changes that. Lydia read it and snorted. Actually, it does. Dad's response. One sentence. You think a lawyer scares me? I built this family. Elena muttered. Out of what? Plywood and narcissism. Mark's response. Predictable. Hey man, can't we just talk this out like adults? Translation. Please don't drag me into the consequences of what I stood by and watched. Paige's response. The masterpiece. A 4-paragraph meltdown ending with, "You can't stop family events." And, "Mill Zero has you whipped." Lydia added both to the file. And then Paige did something incredibly stupid. At 8:30 p.m., while we were making popcorn, my phone buzzed. A video. Sent from an unknown number. Paige. Filming herself in her car. Crying. Mascara running. "I am outside your house," she sobbed. "I just want to talk." "Why are you doing this? Why are you being so heartless?" Elena froze. Milo whispered, "She's not very smart." And then, she turned the camera. She showed our house. Our driveway. Our front door. She was sitting 20 feet away. Then she screamed into the phone. "Come out and face your family." Elena grabbed the phone. Oh, she did not. I calmly hit save, then forwarded the video to Lydia and Sheriff Walters. Within 5 minutes, Lydia replied, "Perfect. This alone justifies emergency restraining orders. Do not open the door." Walters replied, "Deputies en route." Milo peeked through the blinds. She really thought this would work. "No," I said. "She thought we'd cave. She didn't expect consequences." He nodded wisely. Actions have consequences. That's like Rule 1 of being alive. Elena kissed his forehead. "See? This kid's the smartest Carter." I didn't disagree. Outside, the flashing lights began to reflect against our window. Paige's voice echoed faintly from the porch. "Noah! Noah, let me in! We are family!" And all I felt was relief. Cold, clean, overdue relief. Because the door was locked. And this time? I wasn't opening it. Deputies arrived in under 3 minutes. By then, Paige had worked herself into a full-blown Shakespearean tragedy on my porch. She alternated between sobbing into her steering wheel and screeching my name like I was a lost toddler in a mall. The moment the blue lights hit her car, she froze. Deputy Granger approached first. "Ma'am, you were told not to be here." "I'm just trying to save my family," she wailed. He sighed the sigh of a man who has absolutely dealt with this before. "Step out of the vehicle." She refused. Bad choice. 2 more deputies arrived. They didn't drag her out, just stood there until she realized they were absolutely willing to. She finally stepped out, hands up, mascara streaked like war paint. "I just want to talk to him." "He doesn't want to talk to you," Granger said. "He wants you off his property. I'm his sister. And he's an adult who filed a cease and desist against you." That one hit her like a sandbag. She spun toward my house and screamed, "Noah! You're ruining everything!" Inside, Milo stiffened. He looked up at me with this small, fragile fear in his eyes. I knelt beside him. "You're safe." He nodded, but didn't look convinced. Then Paige escalated. "I will not be cut out. You can't replace real family with her and that boy." Elena stepped behind Milo. "That boy." I think the air actually crackled. Deputy Granger turned sharp. "Ma'am, you need to stop talking." She kept going. "We are blood." "He is not." Milo flinched. And that's when something inside me finally, completely snapped. I stepped onto the porch, not close, just far enough that she could see my face. "Paige," I said quietly, "you don't get to talk about my son ever again." Her mouth opened. Closed. Opened. "I didn't mean." "You meant every word." For the first time, she looked genuinely scared. Not of me. Of the truth landing. Deputy Granger gestured toward her. "Ma'am, turn around. Hands behind your back." "What?" "Why?" "Violation of a no-contact order, trespassing, harassment, and refusal to leave." But Adam, Noah, please, this is family. The people inside my house are my family, I said. And it broke her. She started sobbing, ugly, loud, shaking sobs, while they cuffed her gently but firmly. As they walked her to the patrol car, Milo whispered, "Dad?" I looked down. He leaned into my side, small but solid. And he said the sentence that ended the last pieces of guilt I didn't know I was still carrying. "Thank you for choosing me." My throat closed. I pulled him close. There was never another choice. Deputies drove away. The porch lights flickered back to calm. Elena wrapped her arms around both of us. And for the first time in a very, very long while, our home felt quiet.